Hey there YouTube, Doc's Motorcycle Service. Rawr, 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 rawr. Welcome back to the backyard. Come on in, YouTube. The Harley dealership down there, you just need to go on Google Maps and look up the Harley dealership in Rapid City and look at this complex, okay? You come in off the interstate and you turn on the road, and this road's probably I don't know, third of a mile long, and on the left side there's nothing but vendors before you even get to the dealership. Then you turn into the dealership and there's parking on the right for the employees, and then you have to drive what I call the mile of shame, which is you're riding in your motorcycle single file around the perimeter back to the interstate, all the way back around the far end to come into the lower parking lot and then enter the vendor area, which is probably 4 blocks from the front doors of the dealership.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. We rolled in there on a Sunday around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and I bet you, how many motorcycles are in that parking lot? They couldn't be counted, right?
I mean, there had to be 500 or 600 maybe.
Oh no, there's more than that.
No.
I'm gonna say there's probably 2,000 or 3,000 motorcycles in there, because they were probably 80 rows, and each row held like 40 motorcycles, and they were full. Dudette, they were people in there getting tires, rims, handlebars, exhaust, and from vendor to vendor to vendor to vendor to vendor. I saw one dude over here getting a lowering kit, and he was then going to take it right next door and get an electronic center stand put on. Stereos, exhaust. You can have anything done by the major manufacturers right there. And this is before you get to the dealership. Getting into the dealership, there was not a single motorcycle inside the dealership. Right. It was probably a football-sized field shopping area of nothing but clothing and parts and service and whatnot. They had a tent set up outside that had all of their new bikes in it and their used bikes. And get this, they had a section in there of sectioned off used motorcycles that had been brought in on trade that had already been resold, and they had an area where the new owners were sitting waiting for this express group of 5 mechanics with mobile lifts to take the bikes that had just come in on trade to put on there to have them serviced and washed so them guys could ride them out. I've never seen motorcycles moving like they were moving there. It was crazy. I mean, you could spend a whole day just on the grounds of that dealership. And I mean, there was the bikini backwalk. I had to do it. I mean, them poor college girls.
Yeah.
I mean, them poor college girls, they're just out there trying to make a little money. And I mean, some of them look like they could use another meal.
Yeah.
So I had to participate in that, which leads me into a segue.
Yeah.
So we spend $20 on these poor college girls, letting them wash the bike. And then we take off back up the interstate. And we get off at an exit. And there was something like, it said like the buffalo chip this way.
Right.
So we turn right, we go 100 yards, and we go from pavement to gravel. And we're on a gravel road for 5 miles with a 55 mile an hour speed limit. Let me say that again. A gravel road, heavily trafficked, with a 55 mile an hour speed limit. Imagine going down a 2-lane dirt road and being passed by tractor trailers running 60 miles an hour. Okay, so the point of that is this: know your roads. Talking about knowing your roads. This is an awesome way to lead into video 4 of this series. I say it before, I'll say it again, this one's going to be a little bit long. This video has aggravated the crap out of me. Computer issues, just everything's crazy, but Linda's here. We're going to knock it out. You're seeing our picture here on Sturgis. This is the spot in Sturgis where everybody goes to get their picture taken with the Sturgis sign. And what's really cool about it is you kind of pull in down a street and then you turn around and come up on the sidewalk. If you look in the lower right hand corner of the picture, there's actually a ramp on the sidewalk that allows you to drive up to where this sign is at, and then you just back your bike in front of it. And again, it's one of those things, people helping out people you know, somebody's going to take your picture. When you're done, hop off, offer to take the next couple of people's pictures and help them while they're on the bike and stuff like that. But say hey, Linda.
Hi.
All right, so we're back now. You're not going to be able to see this very well from where you're at, but I've taken some pictures of it, and this is the map that I have alluded to in previous videos. And what I've done here is it wouldn't fit on the scanner. I just went ahead and scanned it in thirds to give you an idea about it. I'm telling you, when you get out there, make sure you get one of these. Get 2 of these, get 3 of these, because this one, it's been folded so many times, it's about wore out. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree.
Yeah, now, what you told me that you liked something about
was the color coding of the different routes that you can take. And of course, each route was a day. And
yes,
that's what I liked about it.
Yes. Purple is the Southern Hills, Mount Rushmore and Custer State Park, the Central Hills, the Northern Hills, Devil's Tower, special routes. Now, what, real quick, the Devil's Tower thing, we didn't go on that. And I'll tell you why. That's a day ride, and having talked with other people, it's a huge attraction for not only motorcyclists, bikers, what have you, visitors year-round, but also for the sci-fi people out there, because this Devil's Tower was made famous in the movie, I think, from the 80s called Close Encounters.
Yes.
And if you haven't seen that, if you're too young for that, go back and check it out. But we were warned by different people that it's like a 2.5 hour trip from where we were at there. And then you might as well plan on staying there about 3 or 4 hours, and then a 2.5 hour trip coming back. Now, our weather out there, and Linda mentioned this in a previous video, and I want to mention again in case this is the only one that you see here. If you're trailering your bike, make sure you take what?
Helmet. Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to make sure that you pack everything for when you get there, because if you're not riding it, you don't think about it.
You don't think about your helmets. You don't think about the rain gear. You don't think about
the jacket, and the sweatshirts,
and the chaps and stuff like that. And I'll tell you, now we were out there in August, and I'll tell you that most mornings when we got on the bike, it was hoodie weather. We had hoodies on, and a couple of the mornings I actually had I have 3 levels of gloves when I ride. I have like a light duty, a medium duty, and then heated. Yeah, give me if you want to, I don't care. Pack all this stuff and think about it, especially if you're trailing your bike. But most mornings we were out there, it was in the mid 50s, lower 60s in the morning.
Right.
And we would be in a hoodie and maybe a sweatshirt, maybe a chamois over our face. 10:30, 11 o'clock, we'd start peeling layers off.
Right.
All right. And then you want to have that stuff with you in case you go on one of these long rides and you get trapped, and on the way back home it's back in the 60s, because I mean, if it's 60 degrees like right here on a motorcycle running 70 miles an hour, that feels like 40 degrees. So, you know, ride safe, that's the key thing. But going back to the map, we hit most of these. We just chose not to go on that one because we'd hit enough big rides. Like I said, I told Lyndon and mentioned this in a previous video. We walked more at this rally than we've ever walked at another rally. So I really didn't want to ride 2.5 hours somewhere just to sit there and walk around this mountain and then come back and ride back. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the pictures. So of course we got to have some pictures of downtown Sturgis. There's the lovely Linda, and you know, don't get me wrong here talking about this, but when you've been to one motorcycle rally and seen 500 motorcycles, you've seen 500 motorcycles. So I'm not really including a lot of those here. Now, FullThrottle Saloon, it was pretty cool, but the ride on the way out there was nice too. Got a lot of pictures here that Linda was taking as we rolled up. I mean, this was like at 11 o'clock in the morning, and maybe even 10 o'clock in the morning.
Might have been.
That it was already getting packed. You'll see the statues. It's a big area. From what I understand, this is the leftover of the old Easy Rider, and I wanted to pay attention to this sign right here. I wanted to have it more up front, but I didn't. But I really enjoyed this sign because it greets you just the moment you come through the door. And then when you get in there, this is like the most industrial place I've ever seen. I mean, I'd be interested to know how many welds there are in this place, because there's stuff everywhere that is heavy. It's not fake. It's real machines pulled out of places that used to use these machines as manufacturing. That's a real car. You're going to look right here in a minute. You're going to see a real wrecker sitting up there, and in a moment you're going to see a real semi on one of the walls here. There's the big Wheel of Death, and now that right there, real quick, over there where it says Budweiser in the background, that's where you go and you get all your shopping done. And I'm going to tell you real quick, Linda, I'm a little bit jealous of Linda, okay? Linda knows what I'm talking about. So if you find something out there you want, a t-shirt, hat, whatever, get it, all right? Because Linda got this really nice, I guess you'd call it a button-down shirt.
It's a baseball. It's a baseball, like a baseball jersey.
It's like a baseball jersey. It's white and black, and it's awesome. She looks good in it. I didn't get one.
Yep.
Yeah. And I really wish I had. I felt like, you know, I was just like, I mean, Linda will tell you, I got dozens of t-shirts that I never wear, all right? And I really didn't want to pay, I think it's what, $25, $30?
It was, yeah, it wasn't more than $30.
Yeah, and that's the key thing when you visit these places. They're not trying to rape you on the prices out here. I mean, these are good quality merchandise these guys are selling for decent prices. So if you see something you want, go ahead and get it, because I actually called the day we got back and they were gone. So there, anyway. Yeah, so you can get your stuff over there. We got out there and we wanted to get there early because we wanted to snap some pics of this before it got real crowded. The place is huge. Okay, the place is huge, and this is the band stage, I guess you might say. And what's kind of cool that I didn't get a picture of was off on the left. They have some. They have a two-story building over there that looks like it came out of the Old West, and it has vendors on the bottom and it has vendors on the top. And we found some really cool stuff in some of these places. Most of it was handmade, but the place is massive. It's built to entertain. Yeah.
Well, and I was going to say, for those of you that may know or may not know, there is a campground that is next to it, and it's called Pappy's, and apparently he was the founder of the whole Full Throttle and the campground area, because that was the first thing that my brother asked me when we got back, was whether or not we went to Pappy's, and I was like, I have no idea what he was talking about until I went back and looked, and I was like, oh my gosh.
I'm amazed that your brother would know that. Anyway, there you go. Everybody knows Sturgis, right? So on the way out, walked out to the parking lot to take some pictures. And I'm going to tell you something. These statues are huge, and they're dedicated to all the famous motorcycle builders, and you can probably recognize them. But right here, I want to point out something to you. Notice that white thing under Larry's feet there. I'm going to zoom in on it over here in the next picture to give you an idea of how big this statue is. And my hat's off to these welders. These guys did a great job. But to give you an idea of how big that statue is, that is a rim off a full-size pickup truck right there, that white thing. And how creative these people were when they started making these things. I mean, I'm telling you, man, I was really impressed with what they used to make all this work. All right, so where did we go to next? Let's see. Oh, Mount Rushmore National Memorial.
Yes.
Now, Linda is going to offer you some advice here that's going to benefit you a lot, as she gives me the crazy look here to the side. All right, so this is the road leading up to Mount Rushmore. This is Keystone, I think. Don't hold me to that, but it's right there on the way to Mount Rushmore. And real quick, again, remember what I said in one of the previous videos? You know, try to spend your money with the people that are out here in these areas 52 weeks a year and not just 2 weeks a year. And we did a lot of that. We didn't get an opportunity to come back in Keystone to eat, but we identified a couple restaurants on the way in that we wanted to eat at, but we ended up going a different way. So real quick, this is the road leading up to it, and you can see it in the distance there. And you can see it even better right there, but I do want to pause the video the pictures here for right here. Okay, so, you know, idiots come in 4 wheels, they come in 6 wheels, they come in 8 wheels, they come in 18 wheels. Well, they also come on 2 wheels. As you can see, we moved over because the guy that was up front identified a problem. This area right here is a common pullover for people to pull over and get a picture, a distance picture of the memorial. The problem is, those guys will hop on their bikes and not even think and just pull right over in that lane.
Yeah.
We saw them from a distance doing it. It's lack of education, it's lack of experience, it's lack of respect for the other people on the road, and it's dangerous as hell. So I've talked about skill set before. I'm just going to leave it at that. But even when you're out at a biker event, 2 eyes open, head on a swivel. Now, Linda, what was the cool thing that you came up with while we were out there?
So we were traveling with a small group, and the key was when we got to the ticket counter, I guess you could say, the ticket booth.
Some of these places charge, okay.
So this one was charging, and it made more sense for the person that was in front of our group to say, hey, I'll pay for everybody, you can pay me back later or catch me on the next one. So they would go ahead and say, I've got myself and the 4 bikes behind me. And
bam.
And paid for it. We all got our ticket stubs or whatever we needed and got into the parking deck without having to hold up traffic. Exactly. And that just made a lot of sense.
Yeah, and call ahead or ask somebody and say, hey, what's the cost to get into Mount Rushmore? Don't have that money in your wallet trying to hold up a motorcycle on a 100-degree day with 300 other motorcycles behind you. Because I can tell you, when we got to Mount Rushmore, they had 2 it was like 6 toll booths. All right, 4 of them were for cars, 2 of them were for bikes, and you just pulled up. But here's the thing, they weren't on level ground. These things were on hill because this monument's on the top of a mountain. So don't be trying to hold the brake and fiddle fart back here trying to get your money out and all this stuff. Plan ahead and say, hey, it's $20 a bike to get in. There's 5 of us. I've got the first one. It's on me. Linda carry the $100 bill, or I stuff it in my pocket or wherever, and roll up there, and bam, everybody's in. Just like I've said at a gas pump.
Yes.
Rolling up to a gas pump at one of these events, if there's like 3 or 4 of you, the first one wife jumps off, prepay her if you want to. And she fills your tank up, you roll out of the way, next guy pulls up, you fill them up, he rolls out of the way, he pulls up, pay him, and then you're gone. Because the internet is so overburdened out there with all these credit card transactions going on, it might take you 6 or 7 minutes just to fill your tank up if you're using a credit card.
Right.
So one brother pays for everybody this stop, other brother pays for everybody at the next stop, and then everybody's out and gone. So just a little travel tip from Doc there.
Well, and the key with that, motorcycles have very small tanks. You're not spending $50, $60 on gas for 4 bikes. I mean, you might, especially topping off. I mean, we're not talking about filling up. We're talking just topping off when you're out there riding around.
And there's 100 people around you trying to do the same thing. Right.
So it's just a courtesy thing, and especially with your group, it just makes sense.
Yeah, it's trust me, these things are going to make your life better. So anyway, we in there, what you're going to do is you're going to, once you go through the booth, you're going to go around a winding road and you're going to end up in the bottom of a parking deck, and then you're going to park and you're going to walk out and you're going to come right up to here. And then you're walking through. It's pretty nice in there.
Yeah, it was a beautiful, just a beautiful area.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell that it had been done very well as far as the buildings and the entryways. The walkway up to it was just gorgeous. It wasn't like you were just hopping off the bike and just looking up at it and say, "Oh, that's nice."
Yep.
And moving on.
So Rushmore, I mean, you just walk straight up to it. There's a lot of different things out there to see. There's different vantage points that you can go and look at stuff. There's a walking trail that you can step down to, and it'll take you all the way around to the base of the mountain, where you can almost look up and look up their nose. And Linda was just blown away by the detail. She was awestruck over some of this detail. You want to share that with them?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, obviously from the vantage point that we were at, you can't see it that close, but the detail that you can see is incredible. Now, obviously, pictures and things like that bring it up closer, you could actually see, you know, how they made their eyeballs and, and how they made them look like they had pupils and, and they were looking at you. I mean, the glasses on Roosevelt were just, it was just beautiful.
Yeah. Now, I don't believe we captured any pictures of the ride coming out, but the garage dumps you out behind it.
Yes.
You don't go out the same way you came in, but little travel tip here, there's a spot where you can pull over right about the time you leave, and if you take the picture just right and hold your finger just right, you can get like a selfie and it looks like you're picking George's nose. If you're into that. If you're into that nose picking thing. But I will tell you this, that road behind this thing, whoo boy, it was mad curvy. And again, we're going to look at the maps here in a little bit and I'm going to show you some of that. All right, where do we go next here? Where are we off to next?
I think we went to see the crazy one.
Yes, and that's the thing real quick. If you look on here on the map, these colors, you'll see which ones are close together. And you might be able to get 1 or 2 rides in a day. You know, you might even want to get 3 in, just depending on how you want to go there. Because one of the things that we like to do was, and again, I'll show the map, was we were staying up here. Oh, we were north of Rapid City, but not quite in Sturgis.
Right.
I think we were off of 90 somewhere. I just really can't remember where. Oh, we were right below the National Cemetery.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to tell y'all, I told y'all in a previous video, I wasn't going to tell you where we were stayed at. But if you're paying attention, I just gave you a hint. You know we were in a cabin, and now you know we were near the National Cemetery. Okay? So, I'm not getting paid by this place to promote them, and then I'm not going to give you the name. But if you put those 2 pieces together, you'll figure it out. And I guarantee you this, you will have a great time there. Anyway, instead of just the interstate and driving down here to the purple line, which is way down here on the map, and doing the interstate, we like to take the back roads.
Right.
Because I think we came out, we went into Sturgis, and we actually fueled up in Sturgis, and then we jumped on the Northern Hills, and we took the Northern Hills down past Black Hawk. I think we came over on 173, and then we took the orange route, which is the Central Hills, down through Hill City, and yes, and then we jumped on the Mount Rushmore and Custer State Park loop. So Crazy Horse, this is the parking lot there, and in the distance right there is their monument. Now real quickly, as you look at this picture, point of reference here, the tunnel underneath what will be his arm, from what I understand, that hole, that tunnel there is 7 stories tall. Now this is inside the shops. Beautiful, just beautiful woodwork.
Oh, it's a museum.
Yeah, the museum. It's got some history in there. It's got some Indian artifacts in there. It's got all kinds of stuff that you can get into. Here is a picture of what the monument is supposed to look like when it's done. Piece set up, a lot of history in here, a lot of creative things just showing you how they do. And I'm going to pause this right here because this thing just really, it really struck Linda. Linda was about speechless over this. But what you're going to see is a shawl, like a shawl, dancer. And it's about this big, and it's made completely out of paper mache. And the absolute detail of this thing, it really just made you stop and stare at it and appreciate the fact that it was made out of paper mache by somebody's hands. Canoes, history of canoes, what have you. Paintings, just all kinds of stuff in there. The big rug right here that was handmade, give you an idea how big that thing was and how long it took. There's an outside small statue of it, and it wouldn't be complete if there wasn't a motorcycle involved. And I believe this was a motorcycle that they had custom made and then auctioned off. YouTube, we appreciate you coming by the backyard, and as always, YouTube, you know, ride safe, handle your business, save some money, and cut!